Hey guys, what's up? So today I'm going to help you out. So some of you watching this might be addicted to YouTube. You might be addicted to your video games. You might be addicted to your Xbox. You might be addicted to something else. I don't know, I don't care. But my job for you now is to help you break an addiction. Now you're probably wondering, Drac, how the hell do I break an addiction? It's quite simple. You break an addiction by replacing it with another addiction. You see, your addiction right now might be a bad one, which might be playing video games, smoking cigarettes, alcohol, something else. I don't know, I don't really care. And the way to combat that is to find another addiction that isn't taking something away from you and is giving something back to you. It might be improving you, it might be setting you up for a good, bright future. It might be giving something back, it might be doing what I'm doing, helping other people. I don't know. Well, that's up to you to find that good addiction for yourself. So it's quite simple. You break an addiction by replacing it with an addiction. Okay, so the first step to breaking an addiction is making the conscious decision to break the bad addiction. And now, you're probably wondering, why the hell should I make the conscious decision? So let me explain. You've probably been addicted to whatever this addiction might be for so long that you don't even realise that you're doing it anymore. Let's say you're addicted to video games. You come home from school and you immediately switch on your Xbox and you don't know why. You don't even think about it. It doesn't even register in your brain. That's because your subconscious is commanding it. Everything is controlled by your subconscious. And the way to break your subconscious, to break that cycle, is by consciously thinking about it. So you think about it and then it travels down into your subconscious, wherever the hell it is in your body. So it starts at the top and then it goes down. You've always got to think about it. You have to make the conscious decision, right, this is bad for me and I am hell-bent on breaking this addiction. It is not good for me and I will stop it. So that's the first step. Acknowledge that the addiction is there and that you're going to break it. No matter what it might be, you are going to break it. No matter who stands in your way, you go through them, over them, around them. So step 2. Consciously reduce the amount of time that you give to the addiction. You are feeding the addiction. When you feed it, it grows just like anything else. So you have to stop feeding it. This is about awareness. You have to consciously think about it. Because you might be so deeply rooted in addiction that you don't even think about it. You just do it because it's habit. Alright? You understand? So consciously make the decision to break it and to reduce the amount of time. So this is going to go into step number 3. But before that, we're going to recap. Step number 1, identify the addiction and consciously think about it. What you're doing here is that you're bringing the addiction. Say we've got the addiction's down here and you have to have it up here in order to deal with it. When you consciously think about it, you're bringing the addiction up to where you can deal with it, to the mind, because the mind is very powerful. At the moment, it's being controlled by your subconscious. But you want to control your mind with the conscious. That's the thing that you do control. You don't control your subconscious, but you do control your conscious. So when you bring the addiction up to your conscious, you can deal with it. So identify the problem and ask yourself this question. In 10 years' time, and if I'm still addicted to this, let's take an Xbox, you're addicted to video games. If I'm still addicted to this bloody box, this plastic box, and let's say you're 13, in 10 years' time you're going to be 23, you'll probably be working. Do you want to have that addiction? Do you want to have that bad addiction that's taking time out of your day and giving nothing back? Because you're going to have to work, aren't you? You're going to have to pay the bills. You might have a girlfriend. You're going to have to keep that relation up. You're going to want to spend time with your family, your relationship, your mum and dad, your father. Your dad, father, I'm the same bloody thing. You want to spend time with your girlfriend. You want to spend time with your dog. You want to spend time with your friends. But that time that you're going to spend with all of them, the social situations, is being reduced by that plastic piece of shite. So if you want your life to be good in 10 years' time, you have to get rid of that addiction because it's going to be taking time away from the good stuff that comes with being an adult. Okay, that's summarised. Step number 1, consciously identify it and ask yourself that question. What will my life look like in 10 years' time if I'm still addicted to that? Okay, summary number 2, or step number 2. Reduce the amount of time that you give to it. So, with this, you want to ask yourself the question, how long am I spending with this addiction? Say you're playing 7 hours a fortnight with your friends on the Xbox. Consciously make the decision, right, I'm going to take that time from 7 hours to 6 hours. If you control the addiction, you are putting it on a leash. You are in control. The addiction isn't in control, you are in control. So you are making the conscious decision to stop spending it, to stop feeding it. If you stop feeding it, it's going to starve over time. You have to realise it's not going to happen overnight. So consciously make the decision to not give it time and energy and resources. Okay, we're on to step number 3 now. You've got to set targets that will allow you to destroy the addiction. So one of the targets that worked for me is I took step number 2. I identified how much time I was addicted to video games, because I was addicted to video games. It was an absolute nightmare for me. It destroyed my childhood and my teenage life. I had no friends. Well, I did have a couple, but it wasn't what you call friends. It basically destroyed my social life. So alright, I'm going to break this bastard if it means the end of me. I identified how much time I was spending on it. Spending from 5 to 7 hours, depending on the situation. So I made the conscious decision. I set myself a time, right. So I was going to give myself 1 month. 1 month to take the time from the average time was about 7 hours. 1 month to get from 7 hours to about 6. So I was going to give myself 1 month to take my average time, which was about 7 hours. That was playing video games, to 6 hours. So that actually really worked. In that 1 month, that target, you see, once you have a target, you have a goal. Once you have a vision, the how will come. So you have to have a clear vision of what you want to do. Set yourself some goals. If you have a goal like I did, you will attack it and you will 99% achieve it. But don't get confused. You have to back that goal up with work and actions. This is a world full of lazy people. Technology is part to blame for that. So what you can do is give yourself a time. Give yourself a time. How long do you want to spend attacking this certain target? Start to reduce the amount of time that you spend on it. So I took the 7 hours down to 6 hours within that 1 month. And then once I achieved that goal, I was now spending about 6 hours playing video games. It still wasn't the best, but it was a step in the right direction. It was baby steps. So I said, alright, let's just get rid of this. So I said, alright, I've taken it from 7 hours down to 6 hours. I want to take it down to about 2 hours. So I gave myself 2 months. So this is a step up now, because we've built a little bit of discipline within that 1 month. I gave myself 2 months to take it from 6 hours down to 4 hours. Now, this was quite a big leap for me. It probably is for you if you're doing this along with me. This is quite a massive jump. You reduced it by 1 hour, but now you've got to reduce it by 2 hours. But the thing that's going to make this possible is how bad do you want it? How bad do you want to break that addiction? Because if you're hell-bent on breaking that addiction, you will break it no matter what stands in your way. You will go through it, over it, around it. I don't care. You will get it if you want it enough. And this is the last part of step 3. I took it from 7 hours down to 6 hours, down to 4 hours. You can see how we're gradually breaking this down, this addiction. You've got to destroy something. Say you want to build a new house on a plot of land. You've got the existing house, like an abandoned house. You have to destroy the house in order to have a clean foundation for which you can build that new house upon. You see what we're doing here? We're getting rid of the old junk, and we're getting ready the foundation. We're going to get a clean foundation so we can build upon that. So I took my addiction from 7 hours down to 6 hours, down to 4 hours. And my ultimate goal was to get it to 2 hours per day, my average time that I playing video games. So my average time was about 4 hours now. And I was feeling pretty good about myself, because I was beating this addiction. That was pretty big for me, because this is like when my life started to change. So I had 4 hours. I was right, alright, this is going to be my last step. I'm going to punch this, scrape this, I'm going to break this addiction with this last step. With this last goal or target. So I gave myself, how much was it? I gave myself 2 weeks Because at this point I built up the amount of discipline that required for this step. If you don't have the level of discipline that requires for your goal, reduce your goal and match the amount of discipline that you have, if that makes any sense. The level of your goal has to match the amount of discipline. Because if you say this is your discipline and your goal's up here, you're not going to achieve your goal because your amount of discipline can't reach that goal. So you want to set your goal even with your discipline, or set it just below it. And if you do that, you're going to achieve your goal 99% of the time. So I gave myself 2 weeks to destroy this addiction once and for all. I was hell-bent on breaking this. This is going to be the final punch. So I gave myself 2 weeks to take it from 4 hours down to 2 hours. And I was hell-bent on doing this. That's not a clean 2. So I was going to do this from 4 hours to 2 hours. And I did it. I reduced the amount of time that I was playing video games from 4 hours to 2 hours. And I had done it. So at this point I had a clean foundation. I got rid of the abandoned building. I got rid of the junk that was on top of this foundation. So now what we do is, once we've got a clean foundation, this is going to lead on to step number 4. Okay, we're on to step number 4 now. And step number 4 is finding a new or good addiction to replace the old one. So at this point, we've got rid of the old house, we've got rid of the junk, and now all that's left is the solid foundation. And we need to build upon that, this brand new big house. So we have to look for stuff that we're passionate about. So for me, it was thinking about going back in the day. So I always love making videos and editing them. And I always love talking to people and doing this, like getting in front of the whiteboard and filming myself when like presenting in front of the class. So I was like, what if I can blend them two together to get this really strong passion, so it's like twice as effective? And it worked. So what I'm telling you to do in this step is to go out and try new things. Think back, was there anything that you liked? So once you've got that, actually no, scrap that. Some of the things that I recommend is trying sports, painting/drawing, singing or music, like playing a trombone or an instrument. They're the 3 main things that I think everybody is either good at or loves at. There's not even a thing that you like. So once you've got that, once you have this thing that you like, once you've gone out and tried like 50 or 60 different new things, and you found the thing that you like, you then have to triple down on that. So what am I saying? You have to go and find something that you're good at, and then triple down on it. And once you do that, once you found the thing, you can start to implement it into your life. So so for me, I had this free time. I had these 5 free hours because I was still playing video games for about 2 hours, but I had it under control. I had the bad addiction under control, and I had 5 free hours. So I was like, all right, I've got this new passion. I present in front of this thing, video editing and filming myself. So I filled that block of free time with the thing that I was good at and loved, which was editing videos and presenting and filming myself. And over time, I did this some more. I started out with an hour, or maybe it was 30 minutes. I started with 30 minutes of filming myself and editing. And over time, for about 2 years, I gradually increased the time from 30 minutes to 33 minutes to 40 minutes to 45 to 1 hour to 2 hours. And slowly, I'm not at my 5 hours yet, but I'm probably about 4 hours maybe. So I'm gradually building up this grand house. I've got the foundation clear, and now I'm starting to build it up with this good addiction. So when you're doing this, you have to still be aware of that bad addiction, because that bad addiction could come up with his crew of lads and destroy the house that you're building and rebuild his house, the shitty house that we destroyed. So on this step, you have to manage 2 things. You have to manage the good addiction and the bad addiction. You have to really pay close attention to the amount of time. Say you're addicted to video games. You have to manage the amount of time that you're playing with video games over a long period of time. And if you see it slowly increasing from about 2 hours to about 3 or 4, you have to consciously say, alright, it's past 2 hours, I'm going to stop. And then go do something else, the new passion that you've got. So I hope that helped, and tell me what your addiction is and what you're going to do to combat it. So to recap, step number 1, consciously make the decision to stop it and identify it. Step number 2, reduce the amount, identify how long you're feeding the addiction, how much time are you giving it. And then step number 3, set targets that will allow you to destroy that addiction. But it's important to remember that it has to be your goals has to match the level that your discipline's on, because it can't be all over the place. You have to constantly build it up, your goals and your discipline at the same time. And step number 4, find new good things to replace the old addiction at. And then once you've got that, start to build it up over time. Start to feed your good addiction over time, giving more and more energy and time and resources. So I hope that helped. My name's Jack, and check out my Instagram in the link in the description. Anyway, see ya.